Hello wine people, welcome to the video on white and sweet winemaking. This video is part of the Thirsty and Wise Study and Support Program for students that are preparing for their WSET Level 3 in Wine course and exam. If you did not watch the previous video on common elements in winemaking and maturation, please do, because in that video I go into depth and detail explaining different steps in winemaking and different options in winemaking and how they affect the style quality of the wine. This video will have more sense if you watch that video, because in this video I'll be focusing on white wine making and also white wine making, but differences between inexpensive versus premium wines, wines made with neutral grape varieties versus aromatic grape varieties. And also on the end I will explain sweet winemaking options. White and red wines can be sweet, but most of the sweet wines are actually white, so we'll include it in this video. This video is again part of this part of the first 76 pages of the book, so you understand how important these videos are. So please pay close attention and let's go. So in this video, important options in winemaking in general, that's what we're gonna start with. Then producing inexpensive white wines, producing premium white wines, and sweet winemaking on the end. So this is how the slides are gonna be looking. On the left side, you're gonna have the steps, the number of the step. I identified some 20 steps from grapes to final bottled wine. The steps that are in green are mandatory steps that you cannot avoid in white winemaking. And then on the right side, you're gonna have the comments on which I'm gonna be commenting on for the steps. So let's start with first making general dry wine. So grapes, we're gonna have an option of neutral or aromatic grape varieties. The choice of neutral grape or aromatic grape varieties will dictate the steps in winemaking, because there's quite a big difference in winemaking if you're making a neutral white wine made from neutral grapes like Chardonnay and Pinot Grigio, or if you're using aromatic grape varieties like Sauvignon Blanc or Riesling. So in this video also, we're going to be focusing, we're going to be using as an example these 4 grape varieties, but this winemaking principles can apply for any grape variety, depending if it's aromatic or neutral. All right, so grape sorting and the stemming is not a mandatory step, and you'll see also that some steps are more important than others. Yes, you should remember all the steps, but you're probably on the exam not going to be tested on all of them. Some steps are more important, and for these steps I'll go more in detail and explaining them. So grape sorting is an important step, especially for premium wines, removing any MOG, unhealthy, unripe grapes. The stemming and crushing. The stemming and crushing do not really have a big impact on the style of the wine. For crushing, it is important for the grapes to be crushed gently, in order not to crush the seeds, because they contain bitter oils. So crushing is going to be done for grape varieties that you want to have short skin contact before the fermentation. So skin contact is not really something that neutral grape varieties benefit from, because anyway there's no real specific aromas coming from the grape itself. But for aromatic grape varieties, it is an important step in order to extract additional flavor and aroma from these grapes. Aromatic grape varieties can spend time on the skin at a lower temperature in order to extract flavor and additional texture. Pressing is of course one of the key differences between making white and red wine, and it's always, for white wines, it's always before the fermentation. So again, pressing needs to be done gentle in order not to crush the seed. Pressed juice versus free run juice. So pressed juice has more texture for the higher quality wines, but when you press too much, you want to extract as much juice as possible, usually done for inexpensive wines. Free run juice, this is the highest quality juice that basically has the least amount of pressure that is applied to the grape varieties. Clarification, so clarification can be done before the fermentation, and it is an important step between neutral and aromatic grape varieties. Clarified wines give more purity of varietal character, so for aromatic grapes. Less clarified wines can have more complexity, so something like Chardonnay and Pinot Grigio. Adjustments for sugar or acidity is done usually for inexpensive wines. Alcoholic fermentation for white wines is between 12 to 22 degrees Celsius. Higher fermentation temperatures give more complexity. Lower fermentation temperatures are more suited for wines with more varietal purity. Stainless steel gives more temperature control and purity, versus oak barrels give, usually wines are fermented at higher temperature because controlling the temperature of the fermentation in oak is not as easy as it is in stainless steel tank. Oak will also give controlled oxidation, aromas of oak. The wines are more complex and they give more texture because of the oak. Rack of gross lees, yes, mandatory in order for the wine not to get this stinky, rotten kind of cabbage, rotten egg aromas. Malactic conversion, super important step for white wine making. It's a very important stylistic choice. Malactic conversion is a process that softens the acidity, also gives the aroma of cream and butter, and also suppresses the aromatic character of the grape. So it's not really something that is used for aromatic grape varieties. Newly made wine, yes. Blending is always done for three reasons: either consistency, balance, or complexity. For consistency purposes, it's usually done for inexpensive wines to have uniform same wine every single time. Consistency is sometimes good for premium sparkling wines. For premium wines, a blending is done for balance and complexity. And blending can be done before maturation and after maturation. So maturation can be in stainless steel or in inert vessels that will not change the flavor profile of the wine, or the wines can mature in oak, where the wines will have the aromas of the oak, texture from the oak, controlled oxidation. Everything will lead to more complexity. For inexpensive wines, alternative instead of oak will be used because they're cheaper, and they will give the aromas of oak, but not as balanced as it is with aging the wine in oak. Very important stylistic choice is lees and malactic conversion. Malactic conversion, like I mentioned, it's not really used for aromatic grape varieties. It's more used for neutral grape varieties, where lees aging can be used for neutral and aromatic grape varieties. Again, it will give texture to the wine and also secondary aromas of cheese and yeast that will not really suppress the primary aromas of the grape. Blending, there's many options for blending, and blending is an important choice in between premium and inexpensive wines. Again, for inexpensive wines, it's all about consistency and adjustment, that saving the wine if you want, where for premium wine it's all about balance and complexity. Options for blending is blending different grape varieties, different clarification, different winemaking options that are done through the process of winemaking. So clarification, pressing, free run juice versus different fractions, from different fermentation temperatures, different vessels, lees aging, malolactic conversion. The consumer usually expect a perfectly clear wine, so the wine is going to be clarified and will be stabilized in order to age for a long time. For example, the main difference between premium and inexpensive wines is that clarification and stability will be done in a more gentle way, versus for inexpensive wines, the most important is for the wine to be clear and stable, even though it might actually hurt the texture and the aromas in the wine. You're going to be packaging the wine. Usually the choice of packaging for premium wines is glass bottles with cork or screw cap. For inexpensive wines, you might actually use synthetic corks. Screw caps can be used for premium and inexpensive wines. For inexpensive, for bulk wines, usually plastic can be used, or bag-in-box. And then you have your wine that is ready for either additional aging in the bottle or for sale. So now we're going to be commenting on making inexpensive dry wine. So for inexpensive dry wines can be made from neutral grape varieties, can be from aromatic grape varieties. Aromatic or neutral grape varieties: Chardonnay, Pinot Grigio, Sauvignon Blanc. Usually, if it's a blend, it's going to be blend not for balance or complexity. It's going to be blend because of you want a high amount of grapes to be made in big quantities. Grape sorting, usually for inexpensive wines, you want the wine to go through the process of wine making as soon as possible, and for the wine to be ready for sale as soon as possible. So anything that keeps the wine longer in the winery, anything that increases the cost of production in the winery, will usually be avoided for inexpensive wines. Grape sorting, no, or minimum. The stemming, yes. Crushing, yes. Skin contact, usually not for inexpensive wines. Yes, the grapes will be pressed juice, yes, heavily, in order to extract as much as juice as possible for quantity purposes. Free run juice, no, not really. Clarification, yes, heavily clarified wine with centrifuge to get purity, simpleness of these wines. Adjustments, yes, acidification, but also addition of sugar for grapes that are not perfectly ripe. This is a usual choice usual step for inexpensive wines. Adjustments. Alcoholic fermentation, yes, in stainless steel at lower fermentation temperatures. You're going to use commercial yeast, so fast, easy, simple, straightforward. Rack of gross yeast, yes. MLF usually is going to be blocked. You don't want any additional complexity or flavor or texture, so low fermentation temperatures. SO2 will be used to avoid malolactic conversion from happening. You have your newly made wine. Blending is going to be done for consistency and volume. Maturation, the wines, if they're meant to have this aromas of oak, usually alternatives are going to be used, which are more simple and cheaper and faster. Malolactic conversion can be used for wines that are meant to have this kind of richer texture. RCGM, rectified concentrated grape must, can be used to give additional touch of sweetness, to soften down to make the wine more approachable. Clarification, so blending is going to be done for consistency and volume. Clarification, stabilization, yes. Heavily filtered wine and stabilized, and then you have your wine ready for packaging. glass bottles with either screw cap, even though screw cap doesn't, it usually people think that it's only meant for inexpensive wines, but it's used for inexpensive wines, but also for premium wines. You can have also a natural cork. It doesn't mean that the wine is going to be good. Usually also plastic corks are used for inexpensive wines that are meant for fast consumption. You can use plastic, you can use bag and box, and then you have your wine ready for, usually these wines do not age, or they do not benefit from aging in the bottles, and are ready to be consumed right away. Making premium dry wines with aromatic grapes like Riesling and Sauvignon Blanc. So grapes, yes, aromatic grapes, Sauvignon Blanc ripens early, needs a cool climate, where Riesling grows well in a cool climate as well. Grape sorting, yes. The stemming, yes. Crush, gentle, yes, for both grape varieties. Skin contact, yes. So this is the first step that is very important for aromatic grape varieties in order to extract additional flavor and texture from these grapes. I don't know why I put, probably I meant to put this, buds late and tolerant to cold weather, retains acidity, ideals for range of sweetness. This was supposed to be here. Yes, pressing, gentle pressing. Press juice, yes, gently, in order not to break the seed. Free run juice, yes. Clarification, yes, in order to have that pure varietal character and precision of the primary aromas. Adjustments for premium wines are usually not necessary. Alcoholic fermentation in stainless steel. For Riesling they can also be, Riesling doesn't age or ferment in oak, but in Alsace they can ferment the wine in big, very old used oak barrels that basically gives a little bit controlled oxidation but doesn't give any flavor. But in any case, aromatic grape varieties like Riesling and Sauvignon Blanc, they're almost always fermented in stainless steel tank or in inert vessels in order to retain the pure varietal character. Rack of gross lees, yes. Malactic conversion, no, for aromatic grape varieties. Newly made wine blending. Riesling is usually not blended, or at least it's not blended with other grape varieties. It can be blended maybe from different winemaking. Maybe the wine that was fermented at lower temperature versus higher fermentation temperature. But in any case, for any kind of blending, it's going to be done for complexity and balance. Maturation, again, stainless steel. Lees, there is a style of Sauvignon Blanc in United States where the wine is called Fume Blanc, and the wines age in oak barrels, the barrels, of course, they give more aromas of oak, and usually they suppress the primary aromas of Sauvignon Blanc. But this is more exception for the United States style, which is called Fume Blanc. Also, Sauvignon Blanc is a grape variety that is used in blend for Bordeaux white blends, where it's blended with Semillon to give it acidity, to give it that specific varietal character of green bell pepper. Clarification and stabilization, yes. And then premium wines are always going to be packaged in glass. Can be under screw cap, can be with natural cork. And aromatic grape varieties, they usually do not benefit from long-term aging, but of course there's a big difference here between Sauvignon Blanc and Riesling. Riesling is a grape variety that benefits for additional aging in the bottle, and it really develops amazingly in the bottle, where Sauvignon Blanc, especially single varietal Sauvignon Blanc, is not really meant for aging, where when it's made in a Bordeaux style, Bordeaux white style, when it's blended with Semillon, it is a wine that can benefit from age. Making premium dry wines with neutral grapes. So with neutral grapes, we're going to use examples of Chardonnay and Pinot Grigio. So neutral grape variety, Chardonnay is early budding, Chablis versus California. So Chablis is going to be more citrus and green fruit, where California is going to be more stone and tropical fruit. Also, Pinot Grigio is a neutral grape variety, early budding and ripening grape variety. And for premium style, it is used. It is made in a Pinot Gris style in Alsace, where it can be dry or medium sweet or sweet. But it's also produced in a dry style in, for example, in northern Italy, in Friuli. So for grape sorting, yes. The stemming, crushing, yes. Skin contact, no. So there's no need for neutral grape varieties to have this skin contact pre-fermentation. Pressing, yes, gently. Press juice, yes, gently. Pre-run juice, yes. Clarification, some. So these wines actually benefit from grape parts in the must, in order to give wines more complexity during the fermentation. Adjustments usually not done for premium white wines. Alcoholic fermentation, variations of temperatures, vessels, and sweetness. So these wines can be fermented at higher fermentation temperatures in order to increase the complexity of these wines, or especially, for example, in California, versus maybe a Chablis style that ferments at lower fermentation temperature in order to get more freshness and leanness. Rack of gross lees, yes. Malactic conversion for Chardonnay, yes and no. So Chablis is not gonna go through malactic conversion, versus southern part of Burgundy, yes. California, in many cases, yes. Pinot Grigio, Pinot Gris style, does not go through malactic conversion. You have the newly made wine, again, blending for complexity and balance. Maturation options are stainless steel, lees, and oak for Chardonnay, and stainless steel and lees and big used oak barrels, for example, Pinot Gris in Alsace, or just lees aging for premium Pinot Grigio from Friuli, for example. Clarification and stabilization, yes, but very gentle, and you have your wine ready for bottling. And premium Chardonnay and Pinot Grigio or Pinot Gris have potential for aging and developing further in the bottle. Making, so we covered neutral, we covered aromatic grape varieties, and making sweet wines. So sweet wines can be made in 3 ways: stopping the fermentation, adding a sweet component, and concentrating the grape sugars naturally. So the first one, stopping the fermentation, the first one is fortification. So fortification is done for port. It is done during the fermentation by adding additional high alcohol spirit, which increases the alcohol in the must. This kills the yeast and stops the fermentation. SO2, sulfur dioxide, and chilling can also stop the fermentation, and this is usually done for German Riesling. And then after that, usually the wines are going to be filtered in order to remove any yeast or bacteria affecting the wine in the bottle. Adding, and this is a high quality way to produce a sweet wine in Germany, versus adding a sweet component. Adding sweet component, it is the way it sounds. It's like adding sugar to coffee. So usually Suss Reserve or RCGM will be used. Suss Reserve is unfermented grape must, where RCGM is rectified concentrated grape must. So Suss Reserve is usually reserved for premium wines, where RCGM is used for inexpensive wines, again for Germany. The most complex way to make sweet wine is by concentrating the grape sugars. So the reason why these wines are going to be sweet is because the sugar level in the grapes is so high that the yeast at one point still has high amounts of sugar to ferment, and it also has a high alcohol environment, and it gives up from the fermentation, and the sugar that is not fermented stays as a residual sugar in the wine. So the 4 ways to produce highly concentrated grapes with sugars is noble rot, drying grapes on the vine, which is called passerlage, drying the grapes after picking, and freezing the grapes on the wine. So we explained this more in previous videos for factors in the vineyard that are affecting the styles of wine. So noble rot, it's a fungus that needs special conditions in the vineyard in order to develop. First of all, it needs ripe grapes. It needs to have high humidity in the morning for the rot to develop. When the rot develops, it affects the grapes. It makes small incision inside the grape, and allows the water from the grapes to evaporate, which concentrates everything else. Sugar, also sugar, acidity, and also flavor. And noble rot also gives very specific kind of moldy, marmalade kind of character to the grapes. Wines that are, because of the high sugar concentration, again, the wines, they ferment usually around 13% alcohol and are lusciously sweet. So the wines that are made in this way is Sautern, Tokai, Trockenbauschlese wines in Germany. So fungus, botrytis, fully ripe grapes, misty mornings, dry afternoons, uniform development on individual berries, does not develop every year, and it's a very labor and intensive and expensive way to produce sweet wines. Drying grapes on the wine, passerlage, can be used in instances where, for example, this kind of sweet wines, when noble rot doesn't develop. So this is going to have the same effect in regards to the sugar levels, but it's not going to be as complex because it doesn't give the noble rot specific flavor to the wine. Drying grapes after picking. So this is usually done for Recioto de Valpolicella wines, for white and red wines in Valpolicella. In order to produce grapes after picking, the grapes need to be ripe, healthy, and you need to have dry conditions during the drying in order for the grapes not to be affected by fungus. Freezing the grapes on the vine, it's used in Germany and in Canada for ice wine. So you need to have healthy grapes left on the vine in the winter, and the temperature outside needs to be around -7 degrees Celsius, which will freeze the water inside the grapes. You're gonna have these frozen grapes, you're gonna bring them to the winery. You're going to be pressing the grapes. The water that is frozen will stay on the press, and only the pure juice will go inside the fermentation tank, not the sugar. So water freezes, sugar does not freeze, and you have, because the grapes are highly concentrated, you're gonna have a sweet wines because the yeast will not be able to ferment all the sugar. Wine people, thanks so much for watching this video. I hope they're helping. I'll see you in the next video when we're going to be talking about red and rosé wines. Until then, stay thirsty and wise. See you.